dancing, bro. Chill out.
Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle, but they get their heads burst. Suckers try to battle.
What's up, everyone? This is the It's Just Breaking podcast, episode number 46, and we have a very important guest in the podcast today. We have representing Maximum Efficiency Crew and the founder of Unity Charity. He's probably the strongest b-boy in Canada, and without him, I would most likely not be breaking today. We have Bboy Piecez. Yo.
What up? Thank
Yo.
you. Very kind.
It's
welcome.
an honor. It's an honor.
Appreciate that.
Honestly,
No,
without what you've done for the scene in Toronto or in Canada in general with Unity Charity, I would not be breaking. Then my other co-host Dennis would not be breaking. Like literally, a lot of the new gens right now, they would not be breaking without what you've done, man.
respect, man.
Honor.
It means a lot. And to be honest, most of that wasn't me. It was the amazing team at Unity. But I do appreciate the fact that, you know, just to see how far so many of the breakers that we met so many years ago have come and just what they're doing now. So it's an honor to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that you guys have been doing this is
If you don't know, without Piecez, I wouldn't be breaking. There would be no It's Just Breaking podcast, you know, cause Piecez, he's the one who planted that seed, and now this is the tree that grew from it. Let's go.
Respect, man. Respect. That's dope, man. Yeah, no, it's super cool to see, you know, just people grow up, you know, as time goes by, and like as we get older, you know, how people change, but also how people don't really change. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
B-boys will be boys.
Oh, you know it. Yo, b-boy or
Forever,
die.
forever. B-boy or die.
Yeah, that was like the slogan from back then. Now it's like super corny, but I'm pretty sure like back in your day, that was like the mentality. Like that shirt, the
Yeah.
b-boy or die shirt.
Something like that. That's for sure.
True. Now, oh yeah, I guess so how have you been during these times, like during quarantine and whatnot? So like I think a lot of our followers, we still see you like post footage and stuff. Are you still like getting down?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm still breaking. Such a weird ass time, you know, like I feel super up and down. You know, the pandemic has just been just horrible. You know, it's just been one of those
100%.
things where you can't really avoid the craziness of all this. But yeah, I also had my first son in the pandemic.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man.
That's a big step as a human getting like a child. That's like a huge step. That's like that's amazing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. So not a lot of sleep around here. So just kind of getting to like operating on like 2 hours of sleep. But you know, you figure it out. But man, it's actually pretty dope. We recently started a little like B-boy dads group. Cause honestly, nobody really gets it. But I figured it'd be cool to like talk some trash amongst fellow b-boy dads.
Hey, mind leaking who's in this chat? Like, who's the b-boy dad?
No. This is a secret group. This is a secret group.
Secret society, huh?
I'll get my butt kicked for even mentioning it, to be honest. So that's all you get.
Fair enough. Well, at least we know that there's a secret b-boy dad group. Maybe one day someone one of our hosts will join that one day. Who knows?
Hey, man, just reach out if you're looking for support. Man, I didn't have anywhere to talk trash to, and I figured B-boy dad group would be the perfect place because we're already so used to talking shit. So,
true, makes sense. Yo, again, b-boys never change. We all love to talk shit, which is why this is the premise of this whole podcast. Because it started because we wanted to talk smack, but instead of doing it privately, we started doing it in public.
Perfect. That's the best way to do it. It's the only way to do it. Because if you're talking shit by yourself, then no one really hears it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's start off with this. So now, before you started Unity Charity and became a legend in the Toronto scene, how did you start breaking, Mikey? So how did this all happen?
Yeah, actually, funny enough, I started learning before the YouTube days, before, you know, mostly on VHS. So, but before that, even I was like into gymnastics as like a little kid, and I used to like essentially just like run around my house on my hands and like try to like turn off light switches with my toes and like do all sorts of weird stuff. So yeah, I just like walk around my house and got really strong and a lot of balance that way because I was just a weird kid who liked walking on their hands. And
True. Okay.
eventually I saw breaking funny enough, at a bar mitzvah.
Really? Oh. What was it, like a OG B-boy in that bar mitzvah, or is it like someone that was like
So
a
it was the Boogie Brats, the original Boogie Brats. It was Mighty
Oh.
Mouse, Frank, Dave, and Gadget, or it was like the full crew. And
Damn.
I forget whether, I'm pretty sure Migas wasn't there, but I saw Mighty Mouse do like a 1990, and I was always
Mm.
like doing handstands. And when I saw him spin, I'm like,
You can spin on your hands?
oh shit,
There's
I need that.
levels. Hmm.
That's crazy. So I went home and then I started like like it wasn't even Google. I think it was like Yahooing, like
Ah, okay.
breakdance. That word, because I didn't know what the hell it was.
Hmm.
Obviously, I don't call it breakdance anymore. But then I found like breakdance.com. I wish that site still existed. It was freaking hilarious. Like it
What was
was
it, like a
legit.
forum?
No, it wasn't even a form. It was like someone was typing text descriptions of breaking moves. So
Oh.
they'd be like, literally, there's no video on the internet because it was too slow.
Hmm.
So you'd get like someone describing, like, wrap your foot around your other leg. And like that would literally be what it would say, wrap your left foot around your other leg. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah, it sounds
Um,
like an IKEA assembly book or something like that, except it's
yeah, like
moves.
imagine like a verbal IKEA assembly book. You just be like,
Hmm.
the friggin' hell do
Yeah,
I
it's tough
do?
for sure.
So
Hmm.
it was useless. It was completely useless, but it was funny. I wish someone's got to dig that up somewhere. Like
Yeah.
I wish someone had a carbon copy of that website because it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
like
so that
a
obviously didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? It was like complete garbage. But my dad, who's been like really supportive of my breaking journey, which was pretty unique because there weren't a
mhm.
lot of pops dads like on the scene who were supportive of like their
Yeah.
kids breaking. So he was like a unique dad presence at jams. He found out about a class at Randolph Academy taught by
Mhm.
Benzo.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so I went to that class, and like every Saturday, we go up this crickety elevator and like get to this amazing like hardwood floor and just get down. And that's where I met like John Surla, who was part of MEC, who introduced me to the practices there. I met Nastic there.
Mhm.
I met Floor Play, who was an original member of MEC. All sorts of folks that eventually I'd go on to getting to become a crew with.
Mhm.
And people I wouldn't, like, just people from the scene showed up, obviously, because it's Benzo's class, and Benzo's like,
Right.
a legend in
Mhm.
Canada. And little did I know that I stumbled upon this amazing learning opportunity, and I stayed there for years. And it got to the point where Benzo like would teach me like how to do a swipe or like a flare or something, and like the next week I'd come back and like show it to him, and I was like
He'd
12
be
years
like,
old. Like
"Oh,
I
okay."
was a kid. I was like a young kid. I was like 13 years old. So he's just
Mhm.
kept teaching me and sharing all this knowledge. And it was amazing. Like, I wouldn't be breaking, same way you said for me, like I wouldn't
Mhm.
be breaking at all if it wasn't for Benzo. Like that's for
Ah.
sure.
So would you say Benzo's like like the first like actual Bebo that taught you? Like he was like like usually there's like always a first. Like for me it was Andel that like he was like the first Bebo that ever taught me. So was Benzo like the first Bebo that ever taught you?
Yeah, Benzo taught me most of the things I know, to be honest. Like he taught me how to 90,
Mm.
he taught me how to even
Damn.
like moves that he couldn't necessarily do. Like he was teaching me how to air flare and do like all this stuff. Like it was
Wait,
pretty
Benzo can air
cool.
flare?
No, but he taught me. Honestly,
Oh,
I swear to God,
true, true,
like
true.
he's very good at breaking down instruction and was very like
Mhm.
patient. Um, and yeah, it was just really consistent. Like, and not only did we go to breaking, like go to his class, but then he started inviting me to session. So we went all over the city. He'd invite me out to like Driftwood and different places, and he even started inviting me to parties, which was pretty funny
Mhm.
because I was like,
Yeah, you're like a
under
kid.
I wasn't of age. So it was like we'd go to like Comfort Zone. He used to run jams at Comfort
Mhm.
Zone, which was just like the grimiest club, but like the dopest jams happened at Comfort Zone,
Yeah.
like such a legendary jams. But like you have to like break on the linoleum, because if you fell off the linoleum, it was like this
Like nasty
grimy
wood.
ass. There was like cigarette butts, like the grimiest floor on the planet. Like if you put your hand on, you would like you can't even wash it off of your hand. I remember seeing Bboy Mox like do like a halo like off the thing. I'm like, no.
You're gonna get lice. You're gonna get a bunch of diseases in your hair. That's nasty.
It was nasty. It was nasty. But like some legendary. I didn't even like I wasn't even battling at that time. I just like watched these jams, and like you'd see like Megas and like guys come from Montreal to like call out people in Toronto, and like people got in fights. Like I remember Mouse and rest in peace, and
yes, rest in peace.
And Glizai's brother, they battled it out for like 20 rounds, and it was just like the best battle I'd seen at that point. I was just like, what the hell is
You're
this?
witnessing wars.
Wars, yeah, no, and there's history to why these crews went at it for many years. So anyways, I got introduced through Benzo. He brought me out to jams, like and my dad, the funny thing is my dad would come to these jams, and he'd be like the only dad like wearing like a graffiti hat that said Piecez, Papa Piecez.
Oh, that's so cute.
He became like the dad of the scene. Like everyone knew my dad. Like, didn't matter what crew you were in, like whether it was Supernats, DDT, Boogie Brats, Drunken Monks, Soul Step, whoever, like all these crews knew my dad, and like they loved him because like in some especially some of my crewmates have said, it was like they wish they got more support from their parents. So the fact that my dad was like actively supporting, not just supporting, but like bringing me to these jams, like people were like, shit, like this guy's cool, and my dad, like he's just like a funny dude. Like he'll tell lots of inappropriate jokes. So he's
dad jokes.
quick to make friends.
Oh, nice. That's sick. Damn. So wait. So I guess before. So the next question was how did you get your style? But how did you get your b-boy name Piecez?
So I recently told the story and was corrected. So I'm gonna tell the actual story, probably for the first time. But I was at Benzo's class, so I got my name there amongst many other things. I think it was like the third floor at Randolph. And I'm sitting there, they had like sort of open session time. And then Nastic came up with the name Piecez. And we were talking because I would like do like strong styles, and like Crumbs and Cujo were like really big inspirations to me. So as soon as I could buy VHS tapes and realize that was better than breakdance.com, and YouTube didn't exist, Instagram, none of that stuff was out yet. So I bought the Crumbs solo DVD and I bought the Cujo solo DVD or DVD, VHS. And from there, like the Flying Water Buffalo, my mind was just like
all this knowledge and information.
Like I wanted to do all of that shit, but like sort of innovate on it, like not do exactly that, because clearly these guys have their signatures, but I just kind of like took the essence of like this strong style and built from it, because I just love that, like that vibe, and it was just fun for me to like keep pushing the limits. So anyways, these guys saw me in class in the open session. So like members of the breaking community would sometimes just come to the open session, and then they have the class right before. So like Nastic would come to the open session with different members of MEC, and he's like, oh, your style kind of looks like Crumbs. What about Piecez? And then some other
I knew I was like Crumbs and okay, I can see the connection now. Okay.
Yeah, so he said the real name, and then some other joker whose name will not be mentioned here said, oh, you should be Chunks. It sounds like Crumbs too. And I'm like,
oh, I know exactly what you're talking about now. I remember he taught me too.
I won't even, so anyways, that individual, whatever, but so it ended up going with obviously Piecez. It kept coming up, and Nastic, no, it was John who invited me to MEC session at Secord, who
I know, I went to that session. Yeah,
many of you may be familiar with the Secord spot. And I remember when I first got here. By the way, like what people don't know a lot about MEC is that like before the current generation of what people know as MEC, there was a completely different crew. Like
okay.
Completely different crew. There were two crews. There was MEC, Maximum Efficiency, and Catalyst. So Catalyst was like sort of the training crew for MEC, or like kind of like the brother crew of MEC, but they were sort of different crews. And like technically, from what I understand, and anyone in MEC, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but there was Lawrence Angles, who no longer breaks, Romy and Bernard. They were two twin brothers, these two big guys who like had routines together. I'm gonna get this wrong, but John Umental, or whatever the hell he called himself, he moved to Winnipeg, but he was like pretty monumental. Floor Play, who was kind of like my mentor into the crew, who was the first guy I ever saw do an air flare, first guy I ever saw do an air chair, and he taught me all those moves. Well, you know, as I mentioned, Benzo taught me the origin of all that stuff, but like Floor Play showed me how to innovate on power too. And that was the majority of the crew that I sort of knew at the time. And then Nastic was, I think, a member of Catalyst, and then he moved over to MEC. That I'm not 100% sure about. Nastic, correct me if I'm wrong. And Dell was in Soul Step and Drunken Monk before he came to MEC. And then everyone else, like Amstro, all those guys, they joined quite a bit later. And what happened was everyone, this is my recollection of the story, and it's like, you know, again, someone correct me if I'm telling it wrong, but well, the only people who would be able to correct me are the folks who were there, and none of them break anymore. But Floor Play, Lawrence, Romy, Bernard, John, I remember them getting on a bus at like Kennedy and Lawrence when we just came back from a practice, and we were practicing at this community spot, and they're like, things are going to change. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you're going to have to take more of a lead in the crew. Which I was a kid. I was like 14 or 15. I'm like,
imagine telling a kid to do that.
Yeah, like I don't even know what that means. Anyway, so within that like year, all of those guys quit. And then the crews sort of had a resurgence where new members started to be recruited. But it was a really weird like transition. Excuse me. So like between Nastic and I, we're probably the only two like original members of MEC, and then like they joined. We sort of rebuilt the crew from there. And I would say more he did, because I was like just a kid and I didn't have that connection to it. But yeah, like I'm still in touch with Romy and Bernard. You know, when I traveled to Korea, I stayed with Bernard. He was teaching English there.
Oh, he's in Korea.
Not anymore, but like, you know, we've stayed in touch. Lawrence recently, or not recently, but has had kids. Romy, Bernard have had kids. Like we kind of message each other and say what up. John moved to Winnipeg, so we're still in touch. But like the goal is to like, for me at least, to one day have like a full MEC reunion, because most of the people don't know these members of the crew. They're just like,
like I'm learning now, and
yeah, and they're dope. Like all of them are freaking like ill. They're really, really amazing breakers, and many who inspired my style, especially Floor Play. Like Floor Play. So Floor Play invited me, longest bridge to a story ever. But Floor Play invited me to Secord, and as soon as I came through, like Secord's kind of like this like secret club that you kind of can't join, and kind of only get invited to it. It's like kind of intimidating.
Thanks, Andel. Yeah, Andel invited me. I was like, yo, thanks, Andel. Yeah.
You just kind of get there. You're like, shit, I got to Secord. So I just like felt mad cool, and like got off the subway, and like it was just like, where the hell do I go? And super lost, like trying to get to the community center. Finally find it. The guys like picked me up because I went all the wrong way. And then when I got there, they sort of had arranged that I'd battle Floor Play after to enter the crew. So we went like, I don't know, 8 or 10 rounds. And yeah, by the end of that, they put me down, and
that's awesome.
Ever since, probably like 2002 or something like that. Like Geez, that's like 20 years. That's insane.
Yeah, I was like 6 years old. I was like a little baby still.
Jeez, man. Holy shit. 20 years. I didn't even
Mhm.
realize it's been 20 years.
Yo, time
I started
flies like
breaking
mhm.
2000, I think. So more than
Uh-huh.
20 years. That's scary.
Oh, that's good. That's good. OG still in the game 20 years. Most people like they would have quit like 5 years into it, but 20 years in, that's an accomplishment, I think.
Well, here's to another 20.
Let's
I
go. Let's go. But yeah. So okay.
won't get
So
there if I keep
that's
drinking Diet Coke.
yeah. You need some Tim Hortons, some steep tea.
This message is brought to you by Diet Coke.
One day, once you're big enough, we'll get that Coke sponsorship. That'll be sick.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh, so that's how you got into maximum efficiency crew. So you battled floor play, and then you were inducted through that,
Yeah,
and
and I
after
think the
that.
first battle that I entered was with Floor Play and John at C Court. They
Mm,
had the battle on that upstairs floor.
uh-huh.
Like we lost in the first round against GI.
Oh, against GI? Oh, okay, true.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think it was like Frost, Ruben, and Arthur that we
No.
battled. Or no. What am I talking about? We battled Soul Step. We battled Andel.
And oh, okay.
Yeah. We have all this footage. Like there's a VHS of this battle from back in the day. Someone's got to have it.
Ooh.
Like we gotta pull that up because that
Yeah, I want to see
video is
that.
classic. I know there's mad B-boys that have that full jam. I think it was actually Benzo's tape,
Oh,
if
okay.
I'm correct,
Yo,
or someone.
I bet Flex has it. Flex probably has it. He has all the
Flex for
tapes.
sure has it. Flex for sure has it. We got to pull that up. That battle was legend. Like it really sort of left an imprint on me because that was my first jam. But it wasn't my first battle. The first battle was I forget what their names are, but there were these two twin guys. And they had like shaved heads, and one of them called me out. I went to a community center. I think I went to the STC, and
Okay.
they just called me out. And I didn't even know what a battle was. They were just like coming at me. I'm like, is this guy fighting me? Like, what the hell is going on? I was like so fresh. I don't know. Someone must have told them like I was new or something, and I literally didn't even know what to do. I'm like, what's happening? Is he fighting me? Like, what's happening? Someone's like, go throw down. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I threw down and like I was just like so overwhelmed by like the whole experience. But that was my first battle. But the first like jam with like an organized battle was the one at C Court.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So let's get into this. I remember seeing like I think when you were like 15 or 16, I saw like there's like a video. I think you posted it like of you doing these like insane power moves. Like I was like, damn, you're ahead of your time by far. Whatever. So like what when was that? Like I'm trying to remember which video it was, but it was like a compilation of all your moves. I think it was like when you were like between 15 to 18 years old. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
so it must have been like 2004 to 2008 or something like that.
Yeah,
Or
you're doing like
something.
hollow backs to 90. You're doing air flare to air. I was like, what the? I was like, damn, pieces.
Yeah, man. You know, honestly, I don't like moving into the sort of shit talking zone of this podcast
Okay, let's go.
is I'll just sort of say it. Like, I feel like I was doing a lot of those moves before a lot of the world had seen them, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I can say that honestly because I wasn't traveling at that time and like I was pretty much making the shit up based on practice. And it was dope. Like it was the funnest thing in the world to like do a move that at that particular time did not exist, you know, and like combinations, like, air chair was the thing, but like people weren't really like now you can every move on the planet. Like sometimes I see shit on Instagram. I'm like,
It's been done.
I was fucking doing that like 18 years ago, bro. Like new move. I'm like, shut up.
Pieces
like...
already got it. I remember. I know you doing like air try to this like weird angled baby freeze. I was like, yo, I was like, especially for back then, that's insane. Like that was like new.
Yeah.
Those like
no,
your freeze transitions, crazy.
And then there's like stuff I would see, and I was just like, man, like, damn it, like. There was like, the thing the Hong Ten does, like this thing.
Yeah.
I was doing halos like that before I saw him do that. And then I saw him do it. I'm like, yeah, fine, you can take that. Obviously, you doing this in like Battle of the Year. I'm not even going to Battle of the Year. So like, if someone's going to be like, yeah, who invented that move? It's like,
yeah, it's tough.
I still have footage though.
Yeah, that's especially now. It's kind of like nowadays, like if you want to like actually like claim a move, you have to put it out there. Like, even if you have it, it's hard nowadays to like really like. It's kind of like you have to have it out there now, and then it'd be like, oh, I saw it in the footage first, kind of thing. So it's like
Yeah,
it's
it's
tough.
different. It's different, but that's why it was so exciting back in the day, because like
Mhm.
you weren't really trying to do each other's stuff. You were just like trying to like
Yeah, you're making your own
just
stuff.
do new shit, like just like
Mhm.
new friggin'. I feel like now there's like inspiration is cool. There's just too much inspiration. Like we're over inspired. Like
Yeah,
I wish
I know what
we
you
kind
mean.
of
I know
like
what you mean.
had less information so that we could just
Mhm.
like be more creative, because it's a little bit overkill. Like
Yeah.
every possibility of every combination of a move or a transition, I feel like it hasn't been done, but like
Mhm.
I don't know, it's out there, like you wouldn't even be
Yeah.
able to watch shit. Like you couldn't, there was no YouTube. You
Mhm.
had to have a VHS like in horrible quality and like pay $40 for it to be shipped from like California and
My
wait like
God.
2 months until it arrived. Like this is a different experience. Like now you order something
Mhm.
on Amazon or you just watch it on YouTube,
Instant.
or like someone, yeah, someone probably uploaded it for free, like all the old freestyle session videos. But
Mhm.
back in the day, this was like hard to get. Like you couldn't get this. Literally, you couldn't even get local jams. Like people would bring those camcorders, and you'd have to
Mhm.
figure out who had a camcorder so you could watch
Mhm.
back to the underground. I remember we used to invite people. Like we'd have the crew. We'd go over to, I don't know, someone's house and like play the VHS tape and talk so much shit. Like,
Oh my God, that sounds like such a sick time. Oh my gosh, I love
but
that.
now you don't need to do that because like you're just watching it on your phone or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was something
Mhm.
about that collective experience of like watching VHS
Dude,
tapes
I
with
love
your
that.
crew
Mhm.
and just like talking so much smack about every VHS tape. Like it didn't matter whether it was like an
Mhm.
international, you're just there, just being like, that was
You're just
whack,
drinking,
like
talking stuff. Yeah, that's the best, yo. Oh my gosh, I want to
yeah,
do
I
that so
miss
bad.
those. I miss that. And now like it wouldn't even make, I feel like we should bring it back, just like bring back VHS like shit
Yeah.
talking.
Mhm. That should be like a weekly schedule thing, especially like, with the B Dad crew, yo. Like yo, you should do that with your B
Bro,
Dad, the B
yeah,
Dad
man,
group.
we're gonna do all sorts of stuff, but for now we're like locked into our crazy unsleeping
Mhm.
lives.
True. Oh, so I remember that this was like a big thing. So like your style, I remember back like we know you now as like someone that has like extremely powerful like air power and like handstand stuff, but most people don't know. If you look through the old footage of Mikey, he had like slow motion head spin. And not the fake one that Kaku like puts his finger on. No, Mikey does like one without his hands on the ground. So
Yeah, man, that was,
mhm.
yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, yeah. I was gonna ask. So I know you had like a neck injury. So I was just wanted to ask like if it's not like personal or anything like that, but like how like what was it like transitioning from like using like your head a lot and now only using your like handstand like
Yeah, that
like
was
move.
hard, man. Like I used to use neck stuff as a transition a lot. Like I used to do a lot of like halos both ways, and like headstands was a transition,
Hmm.
rollbacks, all that sort of stuff. Head hollow backs,
Hmm.
all that. And especially like the no handstand, that was like my thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Where I saw, I think I got the idea from like, I think I saw like a Buddhist monk do it once, and I'm
Oh,
like, yo,
okay.
that's sick. I don't know if they were really a Buddhist monk, but that's what the video was called, and I was like, yo,
Hmm.
I could do this, and I figured out sort of a technique where like you sort of move your scalp.
Uh-huh.
So if anyone's trying to do it, like you kind of drop your, like my hips are not like, I'm not like straight up like a board. Like I drop
Hmm.
everything down low,
Oh,
and
like
then
angle. Hmm.
actually have some like leverage here. So I'm actually going like this. Like if
Yeah.
this was,
Hmm.
I'm going like this, and it's like this funny weird thing that I figured out that I could balance without hands. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll spin. And then yeah, so this was like my signature. This is my favorite thing to do in the world. I would spend
Hmm.
hours like head spin, head spin, head spin. Like when I practice, I was like super intense. Like I would just keep doing the move 100 times.
Hmm.
I remember one time I was like practicing head spins, and I literally had to lay down on the floor, and I was like holding my neck because it was in
Oh
so
yeah.
much pain. Because I was just like, I
Oh.
did it like 100 times in a row. I wasn't
Hmm.
thinking I can injure myself. And I just like remember laying there, like my neck was like stinging. And I
Oh
was just like,
man.
what the hell? Anyways, so yeah, I felt like since I was a kid, my teacher used to tell me that I like couldn't turn my neck, and my mom just like, no, he's fine. But many years later, I realized, like even you can feel it. I ended up going to get a scan and found out that I have like naturally fused together vertebrae.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think it's like 4, 5, and 6. C 4, 5, and 6 are naturally fused. So I didn't get any surgeries or anything like that. But I guess by spinning my head into the ground, like
It
it probably
aggravated
made
it.
it worse. So I
Oh.
started to feel like tingling in my left arm and like pain, and then the pain started to get worse. So I just went to my doctor, who I got the scan from, was a neurologist. He's like, you can die. Like he's like,
Oh man.
I mean, he's probably just trying to scare me. He's just like, I saw a basketball player with the same condition. He didn't stop playing, and then he became paraplegic. I'm like,
Damn.
Okay, fine. Compromise. I'll stop spinning on my head.
Yeah, I remember seeing that Unity ad. I think it showed like an X-ray of your neck, and then you're like, oh, 90. Let's go. That's
Oh
inspiring.
yeah. That was no, it wasn't Unity. That was Ray Mendoza.
Oh, okay.
He he's this like awesome like videographer dude. He's like, you want to do like a cool video, and he put it together. Shout out to Ray. Ray's a cool guy. I think he does like ultra marathons now. He's like super
Ultra
hardcore.
marathon, not even a marathon, ultra marathon. That's insane.
Yeah, this guy's serious. I could correct me if I'm wrong, Ray. I don't know. He's probably not even gonna watch this. So shout out to Ray.
True. But yeah, but that's amazing though. Like I feel like a lot of people, like once they find out like, oh, I could die from doing it, I'm gonna stop. But you still continue doing it, and you had like a second win in your career, and you're still killing it right after that. Whatever, that's
Respect, man.
awesome.
No, you gotta. I don't know. Life is too short. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you got to live your life in whatever way you can with whatever limitations. Big inspiration for me was Lazy Legs. It still is.
Yes, lazy legs. Yeah, everyone in ill abilities.
No limits, no excuses, no limits. Like I kind of really became closer friends with him at that time when my neck was sort of, excuse me, not well. And I realized like I can break. I can still find ways to break. Like if this guy can like do what he does and like, not be held back by the condition that he has, who am I to complain? Like I can break, and I figured out a new style and, adapted my style. So now I don't put my head down on the floor ever. And at first it was really difficult, but then, you just figure it out, right? Like
you adapt. Yeah. That's the best thing about being like humans. They're really good at adapting. We have a shitty situation, we always find a way to adapt. And like
my wife said something funny the other day where like we'll have survival of the fittest. So like people's like faces will be the shape of a mask.
Really?
Of like
no,
I just like it's like a funny idea, but like imagine like evolution will like evolve to have like pointy faces. So
that's
like
weird.
the people with the best fit to the mask. No, I'm just talking shit, but like
no, that'd be hilarious.
Like all people in the future will be like these pointy nosed, like
that'd be pretty funny actually. But I heard like humans like we'll naturally lose all our hair because apparently we don't need that anymore. Like maybe in like 3000, like year 3000 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh wow. Well, I'm not on that spectrum. I'm like
you're the opposite.
This is like
true. Your Asian genes don't give me anything.
I won't pollute the viewers' eyes with where the most hair is, but I'm a hairy dude thanks to my grandfather.
True. Good genetics though. But so let's move on to this. So what would you say was your you've been in a lot of amazing battles. I remember like we were like watching a live stream of you versus Ronnie and like all these international Bboys. What would you consider your greatest battle, like, or your favorite battle, like top 3 or something like that?
There's so many awesome. Honestly, my favorite thing in breaking is battling, especially call outs, like just calling out.
Yeah.
I'd say a couple of my favorites. One of the hypest ones were just. It's funny, people aren't as like hype anymore. Like they just don't seem to care as often. I mean, sometimes, but like I remember jams just felt more like hype back in the day. Like I remember I went to Montreal before, no one knew who I was, and I just showed up, and I think it was called Extreme Supreme or something like that, whatever this jam was called, and like no one knew who I was, and I just like showed up. I was young, I was like 15 or 14, and I just like cleaned house. Like it was just like it was, but people, you know, when like people hadn't seen something for the first time, like so when I did
Yeah,
that like slow head spin, like
I can imagine,
people
yo.
lost their shit, and it was the funniest. I think I have footage of it. It was me and Fresh Effects. We entered the battle there, and like people just like lost it, and it was super dope. Like I love those types of moments.
Like, where you just
You know,
surprised everyone.
yeah, they're just like, what what's happening? Like, is this what?
You already know there's some like grown man's watching. They're like, oh, who's this little kid like going in? Like he's probably like one of those other little kids that's gonna slop up the floor. Nah, son, throwing out slow motion head spin, changing the game. That's
That's
crazy.
exactly what it was, man. No, it's just like I was like the most unexpected, random looking kid, and I dressed like the worst. Like I wore like the same shirt and hat. I wore this blue hat, blue headspin hat, this yellow Funk Fanatic shirt.
Oh, I know exactly. I remember. I know the footage. I remember this.
This shirt was of me doing an air chair, which is totally ridiculous. And I would wear these huge brown cargo pants, and often by the end of the jam I'd have this huge like ass sweat stain.
Oh,
And like funny enough, I wore New Balance, like you know those like old man gray New Balance shoes.
yeah.
I wore those shoes. Like I had the worst wardrobe. Like my crew, one of the first things they did, they're just like, you cannot wear these clothes. Like so like they got me like
killing the image.
they got me jeans, they got me like Adidas or Puma. They got me, you know, they cleaned me up because I literally was the worst dressed person and the most unsuspecting at jams like that. Another one that I really like loved, one of my favorite battles was out in Hong Kong against Monkey J.
Oh my, yeah, I know that about. Yeah, I think that was one of the first footage I seen of you. Yeah, I remember that
It was
one.
such a small room, and people were just like losing it. Like again, it was one of those moments that people didn't know my style or hadn't seen those particular like combinations. And I remember Joey was filming it. HK Bboy was a good friend. He's like the awesomest dude. And you know, even the camera's moving. Like it just like
Yeah,
it was
like...
just such a hype. It was a hype battle. There's so many though. Like me and Savio, me and Puzzles called out Twix and Jeromski at Rocksteady Anniversary.
Ooh, yeah,
Not
okay.
a lot of people know about that battle, and like I'd say I mean, there wasn't a lot of space in Twix's defense because he couldn't do all that. And they didn't see it coming. It was like really out of nowhere. They were just in the cipher with us, and we called them out. And like Jeromski did his like pull up leg thing, and then I did like the one hand up,
Oh,
and then up,
off them.
down the air
Nice.
chair, and like again, this was like
Slapped.
earlier on, but it was yeah.
True. Yo, that's
we
sick.
need a rematch.
Yeah. Yo, if you're still battling now, you be battling all the top dogs in the current Red Bull BC one right now and all that stuff. Yo.
Yeah, man. I still, you know, I lost some of that. I'll battle anyone. Like if anyone calls me, I will battle anyone.
Yo, Piecez is just waiting. He's just waiting for that to happen. Let's go.
I am waiting, but you know, I'm definitely. I can do all the things I used to do, but the stamina, you know, like when I see younger breakers, like I remember that stamina that I had where I could keep going and going in one set. Like I could go for like a whole minute of like power, but now it's just like, yo, if I do 30, 40 seconds of a set,
it's tough.
That's like hard, then I need like a real breath of air, you know, like
like all these like younger guys, they like keep on practicing. They build up that kind of specific stamina for it, so they can keep on going. It's just like a matter of just practicing a lot and all that stuff. It's tough now.
Yeah, I miss that feeling though when my body had limitless stamina. Like it doesn't last forever, so now I gotta like be really strategic because like anyways, I remember that feeling when I had it. It was like this flexibility, stamina, strength that like it doesn't like go down over time. You can like sort of breathe and it like actually
it's second wind like a lot.
Like guys like Sugar Kicks or like these breakers.
Yeah, these guys are like machines, yo.
They're machines. Yeah, I think I had that when I was younger, like that sort of 18-year-old age, like before my 20s. And now it's more just like maintenance. Like I want to be able to do all the things that I could do before until at least 50, but you know, forever till I'm dead, like I'll be doing 90s, you know?
Let's go, let's go. Yeah, that's why I say like forever till I die, I'm gonna be able to Halo or do a one windmill at least.
Straight up, man. Like I will literally be on my deathbed, like whenever that be, and just be like, wait. Let me just see if I can 90. And
That's hilarious.
If I die trying, it was a life worth living.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I can imagine. That's funny. That's a funny image. Damn. Not you dying, but you doing a 90 while on your deathbed.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
True. But yeah. Oh, here's another fun question. So, who are your rivals from back? Actually, yeah, who are your rivals from back then, and who, if you had the chance to battle right now, who would you want to battle?
Oof. Well, rivals is easy. Like our crew was kind of like, I don't want to say a shit disturber, but we definitely like, it got pretty real between different crews. Excuse me. I don't know, like I'd say every crew at the time was a rival. Supernats, GI, like back in the day. Who else? Soul Step, whatever. But I'd say really Soul Step was more of an ally. Like it was really between Supernats and GI. Those were the crews we were always going up against, at least in Toronto. And I'd say the most animosity at that particular time was between Supernats. I was always the peaceful guy. Like I was just like the, you know, when people started actually fighting at jams, I'm like, you know, but there were fights. There were definitely moments that as young people, I'm sure the people involved would be down to talk about it today, but there were some moments of some real like
nice,
you know, anger, and maybe some people would still fight about it, but I don't know. I think we're over most of that. All I remember, and again, rest in peace to Mouse. We used to battle each other one-on-one all the time, and like he used to come at me so hard, like he wanted to just like kill me, and I was just like, why does this guy hate me so much? But like it was just like a back and forth between skills, and like every jam, man, me and Mouse like would go at it, and it was
you guys both have like that strong, flexible style too, so it's like a good match.
Yeah. And back in the day, this is before like, you know, everything needed to be like clean or whatever the expectations of breaking are the way they are today. But like people would just be crashing in the middle of sets, like, and everyone would be like, whoa, like it was such a different, like, sometimes I watch that old footage, I'm like, this is so interesting. It's so different. But yeah, so me and Mouse used to go at it. Yeah, there were lots of rivals. But if I were to battle anyone, I've still always wanted to battle physics. Like,
ooh, okay, yeah.
Wanted to battle physics. Who else? You know, for fun, I'd love to battle Ronnie again. Like, that would be dope. Because he's still at it, you know, and as he's getting older, he's still got that edge. Who's on my list of folks? Hong 10 was always on my list, but now I can't really do that next stuff. So it's more like a physics thing, you know? I don't really have a very long list. Like it's been really physics, Hong 10, and like, you know,
like the legends of back then. Yeah, for sure.
Those are my target. And it's funny because I've been wanting to battle them since like 2004, because we battled True Canadian All-Stars, which was like an all-star Canadian team at UK 2004. It was like Benzo, Merv, or Tango Longshot, Dizzy, Puzzles, J Rebel, like all these people from Canada, and then we battled against, I think it was called Project Soul.
The super team from Korea. Yeah, I remember hearing.
Yeah, and that was the first time physics did that elbow spin.
The elbow, yeah.
To the world. So we were just like, because we hadn't seen it, no one in the world had seen it. We were just like,
oh, that was the debut of that move? Damn.
Yeah, and then I was like, let me go after him. I'm gonna do the slow head spin. But then Dizzy went in and did like a side spin. What are you doing?
Ruined.
It was so ruined. It was so ruined. I was so sad in that moment because I'm like, this is my moment to like.
Yeah, dude, that it's like one of those moments. Like if I could go back in time, if I were to do this, my life would be so different.
I would have just been like, just wait, Dizzy, just wait. stay back. I got this one. I even said, like, I got this. He's like, no. He just ran out. I'm like, no.
Damn. That was your moment.
Yeah.
That was your moment of fame right there. Damn, that sucks.
Nah, I don't care about fame, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, to be honest, to be able to like get down with, all these amazing breakers from all over the world and like go to any jam in any country and kind of like, have friends. That to me is the dopest thing about
the
breaking.
relationship and the connection, that's like the most important thing.
Yeah, the party, man. Like so many memories, crazy stories of like partying in, all over the world with just people who are dope and also part of breaking, this community, because it's cool to party with random people, but there's something about like, that camaraderie of like
your
breakers,
own people, yo. Yeah.
You just feel like kind of almost dangerously, like hype.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The energy.
Like, yeah, let's go
best.
do this. Like nothing too stupid, but definitely have had some memories I'll never forget.
True, that's sick, yo. Oh, so Piecez, how much time do you have left? Just because I guess I was gonna ask about Unity and stuff. You good?
Yeah, I'm chilling. Yeah.
100. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time. So now the next part of our podcast, we're gonna talk about Unity, the most important thing for my generation and a lot of like the people that have been growing up in this new gen. So Piecez, how and why did you start Unity?
Yeah, man. No, respect for saying that. It means a lot. It's been a journey of my life. Specifically, I just saw how much breaking was doing in my crew and how much, we didn't really talk about it, but you'd see what people were going through just by, going to their house and meeting their family and starting to realize like, people were struggling in all sorts of different ways in our crew. And like, no one talked about that type of stuff at that particular time, but you could see it, But one of the things we had in common was breaking. Breaking was our escape. It was our outlet. It was our community. It made us want more in life. It made us, it helped us get through, shitty times. Not everyone, but I'd say a pretty good majority of folks. And as you get to know more people's stories, I find everyone's got a story. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I started to realize like a lot of people get attracted to breaking and hip hop because they're looking for something, they're looking, they have this raw energy and they don't know where to like direct that energy. So I realized that, and I sort of made that connection when it was happening for me. I was like, I was a young person. My mom was struggling with her mental health throughout my childhood. And I was just like, so much energy and like kind of like anger, and like I was a quiet kid, so like I just once I could direct that into breaking, and I was just like boom, and like the community and the vibes and the parties, and like it makes you feel cool and part of something. Like breaking for sure changed my life for the better. So I'm like, how do we recreate like that feeling, but in a natural way where young people can discover hip hop and identify with it in whatever way works for them, that also is rooted in the actual culture that hip hop is based in. Excuse me. So we started Unity as a bunch of artists, Andel, TK, a bunch of MCs, Testament, Russell, excuse me, Jula, like there were all sorts of people back in the day who would meet in my basement, and we would just say, okay, this is the premise: hip hop, young people, schools. We did most of our programs in schools at the beginning. What do we do? Like, what does that look like? So we literally just brainstorm. Like, we'd literally have 20 people in my basement, and we'd be talking like, oh, we could run like assemblies, like, those like corny spirit assemblies. We could do like
I remember.
Hip hop assemblies. And they're like, yeah, why don't we, like those really corny skits that they have in like after school specials, like what if we made like our own corny after school special, but like as we're doing it, we're like making fun of ourselves while
that's the best.
Like we're just like sarcastic, like it was jokes, like we were, and it was freestyle. So we'd have like a rough script, but like whoever was playing the role, we would we would just corn it up like hard so that like, you know, it was relatable. Like we know those corny after school specials don't work. And if we're going to sort of connect with young people who are interested in the art forms we're doing, we always highlighted the art, like graffiti artists, beatboxers, spoken word, MCs, obviously breakers, poppers, and we would highlight the best artists in the city. So we always get, you know, the top artists to be teachers and to be performers. And then we started doing workshops and we started doing after school programs. And, you know, about 5 years passed. And when I went to university, we registered a student club at York, which still exists at York, I'm pretty sure. And we just kept building, you know, we took it one step at a time, you know what I'm saying? And it's pretty crazy to think, but I think Unity has been around as an idea, like since a high school project for 19 years now. And
19 years, damn.
20. Officially, like as a charity, it's 15 years because there were 4 years of us just like kids like running around
putting it together.
Just running these programs, but like 19 years of like actual programs have been going on. So it's pretty crazy to look back and just be like, wow. And you know, I left about 3 years ago. I had a bit of a burnout, but I also just, you know, I don't believe anyone should stay anywhere forever. You kind of got to know when it's time to have a new leader to take over. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just you get stale. And I was definitely probably even past that point where I was the most effective. But it's dope. Like they're thriving today. You know, a lot of the same people who worked at Unity are now still working at Unity, and Dell being one of them.
Let's
Switch,
go.
Cat, you know, lots of familiar faces who you'd recognize. Mahad, who originally, you know, we met him in his high school, and now he's like one of the main grant writers. Yeah, so shout outs to all the team for, you know, keeping it going after so many years, because otherwise, you know, things fizzle, right? But they've kept it going strong, thanks to Rebecca and the whole team who's made it possible. Bob Jester from Winnipeg is
Bob,
yeah, he's out there. I'm forgetting a million names, but you know, we were a catalyst in all that, but there were so many artists. We must have had hundreds of artists like touch the stage as artist educators. And our rule was kind of like, yeah, you can be a dope artist, but that doesn't mean you're a dope teacher.
Yeah, so it's completely different.
They're so different. Like you could be the worst teacher or just like have no way of engaging young people. So we decided to really focus on having the best artists who are the best teachers.
Yeah, good balance.
Because otherwise the program is crap, you know? But if they were great teachers and not great artists at that particular time, we didn't allow it because like the young people could smell if it was full of shit.
Could smell BS,
Yeah, exactly. So like it had to be the dopest artists, you know, representing like in their craft, and not like 10 years ago, but like in the current moment. That was really important to us. And then they had to be good at educating or be willing to learn how to educate. So we eventually created like programs where the artists would teach the artists how to
teach. Program.
Yeah, exactly. Because then there were like young bucks coming up who wanted to teach, and like they were dope in their craft, and you know, they eventually grew up through, you know, and they became better facilitators than us old folks. Like, you know, like Tafaya, for example.
Yeah, Tafaya.
Serena, Kenneth. Like there's so many amazing facilitators that, you know, have taught with Unity and have grown up, you know, over the years. Burma, spoken word, like all over the place. It's just beautiful to see. And I take zero credit for any of that. I really think it's a community that builds this stuff. And, you know, you start with an idea, and the idea sort of seeded into something that people wanted to continue. So that's a beautiful thing. And if it died, that's okay too. You know, I'm not married to the fact that everything needs to live forever, right? Like some things have their time, but it's doing well. So that to me means that the
It's a
community
legacy.
still.
The legacy is still growing, still living. That's sick.
Yeah, man, it's dope. It's really beautiful. It's really something special, and I'm just thankful to have been a part of it. And
Hmm.
I'll always be their biggest fan,
Let's
100%.
go. Do you still act kind of like a board of director kind of like role, like if they needed like some advice or anything, or are you just completely hands off now?
No, I feel like it's very like patriarchal to like say, oh, like I'm gonna leave, but like I want my hands in it, like
Ah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
this becomes super problematic. So like I wanted to do that, obviously, because like I had so many opinions on like how it should
Hmm.
be, but like you just gotta I just had to let it go because
Makes sense.
you
Yeah.
become resentful, and then like it's not up to me. Like the community has to decide where this thing should go, not me.
Hmm.
If I'm
It's.
deciding, I just become like angry and old and like
Hmm.
too attached to like it being my thing versus like letting people really make it their own thing. So for me, I thought it was healthier for me and for them to for me to walk away.
Hmm.
um but a lot of people stay and just like get angry and like you know just they make bad decisions for their organizations later on in life.
Hmm.
So I just didn't want to be that guy.
That makes sense. No, that's good. That takes like a very strong, like mentally strong person to do that kind of thing. Because I know, like, if you compare it to like, let's say the breaking scene right now, like what the breaking scene is, what it is back then is completely different than what it is now. And obviously, a lot of OGs don't like the direction of it's going, like especially with the Olympic thing. Some people decide to let it go. Some people decide to embrace it. Some people decide to be really bitter about it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like,
I'm of the opinion you gotta, or at least I'll speak for myself. I needed to know when to let go,
mhm,
and I felt like I let go at the right time. And
that's
thank God,
good.
because
Yeah.
they're thriving. Unity's thriving without me. It doesn't need me. And I think when you realize how you're not so important, you know, like everyone's replaceable,
Hmm.
then you really realize like what you do right now matters, not
Hmm.
what you did 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
nice to recognize history. It's important to recognize history. I'm not discrediting that. But what you do today matters just as much as what you did 20 years ago and what you
Hmm.
do tomorrow. And I think people like get stuck in like, oh, I did this 20 years ago, so I'm a saint. It's like, no, like you gotta your actions today and tomorrow have to be aligned with the person you want to be, not like, oh, I was great back in the day. I did a good thing, but
Hmm.
now I'm a shithead, like
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
can't. I'm a personal believer that every moment we create, we create the person that we are, not living too far in the past. But I am proud of it. I'd love to reconnect with folks. I will make time for anyone, Unity, any moment of the 24 hours, 7 days a week, because like
Hmm.
I want to see them succeed. I want to see them thrive. It's providing jobs for tons
Oh,
of
that's the
my
best.
crew. Clinton's
Hmm.
still there too. Like a lot of my crew is employed through Unity full
Yeah.
time, and not like fake jobs like that are like just struggling to fundraise every year. Like they're paid properly above
Hmm.
standard, and I'm proud to say that that's like something that I was part of. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's dope, man. I'm really just at a loss for words. Just really sometimes overwhelmed with like looking back. Like it's like learning an air flare. Like you don't. I mean, maybe an air flare is different, but
Now, like
it's
with the
just like one
steps
of
to
those
get
things.
towards that. Hmm.
Yeah, like maybe you're aiming for something, but like we weren't aiming to get it to that place. We were kind of just doing things that we felt were right in small
Hmm.
ways, and then it like sort of built to this like thing. And then it became too much responsibility, and I'm like, I can't.
Let the
You
new
gotta,
gens take over. Yo, let's go like
yeah,
that.
yo, take it over. Like you guys got this. You know what I'm saying? Like us old guys don't know what's relevant these days. Like you teach us. I'm willing to learn. So you got to be open
Hmm.
to that.
True. That's sick. Yeah, like again, Unity Chair. Without that, I would not be breaking. I would not be doing this podcast. All my other crewmates, they would not be breaking as well. Like Mike, like he was in the, at the Unity team. He's in my crew. Dennis, like all these people. Yo, without Unity Charity, we would not be where we are today. We wouldn't even have met each other because we met each other through breaking. So my friend groups would be completely different. Their friend groups would have been different. Like yo, things would have been so different without Unity for me and my friends.
That, that's dope, man. No, I appreciate that. And I offer this to anyone listening, including yourself, just like, what opportunities are you creating for other people to connect? You know what I mean? Like even running a jam, like
Yeah.
things happen at that jam because you organized it. You know what I mean? Like what are you sparking? This podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like conversations are happening here. People are listening, and you're sparking different dialogues and exchanges and connections. So like I always say, if you have an idea, go out there and try it. Like worst thing that's gonna happen, it'll fail or fall apart. But like I feel like a lot of our ideas live in our heads for our whole lives, and just like it just builds in regret, like just get out
regret.
there
Yeah.
and just do it, man. Like do it in the smallest way possible that is safe for you and not too risky, but to just sort of stay enclosed in our usual business, especially when we're in isolation. It's just like, man,
Exactly.
just
Yeah. Right now
make
it's
your
the time
ideas
to build
happen.
up all these ideas, but once quarantine is over, it's time to let it out like that. It's
Cook them
cooking. The
up,
pot is cooking.
serve them up. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? Yeah,
100%.
yeah, man. Get them out there. I'm excited to see what people create as a result of all this craziness.
100%, 100%. Yeah, so I want to reminisce about this one big thing that happened in my new gen, the Unity charity battles, the high school battles. That was like the I think like that, like looking back at my breaking, I think that was the most energetic, most competitive that my generation's ever been. Because I remember like after school, me, Bobby, my team were like, yo, how are we gonna beat Asian Core? How are we gonna beat Albert Camp? I remember like during that time, yo, we need. I just feel like looking at the new gen now, yo, we need that kind of thing again, like that, like kind of like rivalry with schools and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were going. Like we literally, what you just said, that's so dope to hear because like we literally said like there's no rivalries. Like
Yeah.
because we had that when we would battle Supernats and like we kind of like not like actually hate each other, but like some
Mhm.
members of our crew didn't really like each other. Like there was real beef and like how do we recreate the real feeling? And the fact that you
Mhm.
said that is just like so dope, man. Like
Yeah.
because that was the idea is to recreate that feeling of like, yo, our school is better than your school, like, and we're gonna show you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's like the best.
It's so dope. I remember the Brampton crew was dope too.
Oh yeah,
They were
dude, they're all
hype.
crazy, yo.
It was crazy, yeah. And yeah, we tried to do that a whole bunch of times and just recreate that fire because that's what hip hop is. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't force that. You got to really just
Like let
set
it
it up
naturally
for
play out.
success, but let it
Yeah.
naturally play out. You know what I'm saying? That's dope, man. That's cool. That
Yeah.
I remember those
That was like
battles.
the
Get
best.
a
That's the
trophy
best.
too, right? The trophy.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. 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 Exactly. Oh man, that's like the. And then like eventually, like I noticed that throughout the years, less b-boy, so we eventually just formed into cities, like Team Scarborough versus Team Brampton. Even then, that's even more fun because we were like, oh, the best from each high school. That's like the evolution of it. That was like the best.
Yeah, you rep your your city, your hood, your area.
Yeah. Oh man, I like looking at like why there's no new gens nowadays, because I feel like my generation and maybe a little bit younger is like that's like the last generation for breakers. And I wanted to
Really?
ask like what did you think, like how do you think that we can like grow like a newer generation, like have maybe like new high school students join, because now it's kind of like fizzling out, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I kind of see that too, actually. Honestly, man, like the thing that was dope about Unity, I mean, now it's harder because we can't, like, I don't know what they're up to today, but like maybe it's something you can do or someone out there can do. It's just like
Hmm.
there's so many kids out there that are like hungry for something. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
and hip hop is just the perfect fucking like perfect thing. It's the perfect like for some people. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's not for everyone. And for the people it's not for, that's fine. Don't just go do something else. But I still feel like every time we go to a high school, we would discover like two kids who are just like,
Yeah. Hmm.
yo, that.
Hmm.
So I think we're just not reaching those two kids in,
Hmm.
every school. So I think it's really important, and maybe Unity's up to this, but it can be super grassroots and super simple, like community driven. Like find those two kids in all these
Hmm.
communities and pull them out and mentor them and give them love and encourage them and challenge them and push them. Because otherwise, they're gonna go start skateboarding or something, and like
Yeah,
that's
they're gonna
cool.
do like party, like college, like all that
Or
stuff.
they're gonna go off and maybe
Party.
go down the wrong route too, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe they're out there. Young
Oh,
people are
100%.
out there. We're
Yeah,
just
cause
not reaching them. At least in this city,
mhm,
in Toronto. Like there's
yeah.
other cities doing different programs, but
hmm
like Montreal, I know has
Yeah, Montreal's killing it right now, I think.
yeah,
They
they're
have a lot
really
of kids.
growing their scene, and it's because of, in my opinion, guys like City who run
hmm
um, that program, which starts with very young kids who are now growing up, right? Like
Yeah.
he's finding those young people. So my belief is you just got to find those young people and like
hmm
relate to them on their level, and learn from them. Each one teach one,
hmm
but we're not finding them here in Toronto because like
Yeah, it's tough. Not reaching out enough, I guess, like at the moment. But I, like again, like before, you reach out to us, me, Dennis, like out of the 20 people that was in Unity at each high school, you got like two like people that are still doing it in their mid 20s or whatever. Like me, Dennis, Bobby, like all those guys, we're still doing it right now. Like that's it's just like a numbers game almost sometimes.
it totally is. And it's not to say that you have to be breaking your whole life, but like it's part of your life, you know what I'm saying? And
Part
like
of,
that
yeah, that's a good
defines
way to
who
say
you
it.
are. And that's something that no one will understand unless they've had it.
hmm
So man, we got to find these young people, because I know there's like some hype kids out there who just like are the
hmm
next best Toronto b-boys and b-girls, but they just don't even know about breaking, or they've seen it
Exactly,
on like
yeah.
Instagram or TikTok or something. It's like, yo, no, there's someone who's willing to teach you. You know what I'm saying? But
hmm
like, how do you bring them in? And that's what we tried to do with Unity. That was really the essence.
hmm
Um, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as like, running a workshop, or like,
Exactly.
showing up to someone's like
Assembly
jam,
or something like that.
or
Or like a
yeah,
bar
straight
mitzvah,
up
like that, like how you got into it, like just showing up to someone's
random
like,
shit.
yeah, just exposure.
It's
That's
just,
like the best.
it's just an exposure, just like a boom, but like an exposure to like the realness, like not. There's all
Yeah, not
sorts
like
of
some fake.
crap, like show them the real shit, and then like get them hype, and then be like,
hmm
yo, you can be part of this, like welcome people in. Don't be like, yo, hip hop is this thing and you got to do it this way. It's like, yo, come hang out, like come to see
Exactly.
folks, you
Natural.
know
hmm
but people have to be welcomed in, and I think that sometimes we don't do the best job of welcoming people in.
Yeah,
We
the barrier of entry is kind of tough for breaking sometimes. Like you could show up to a session, everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and when you're a new kid, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to practice. You feel scared or whatever. Like the barrier of
Yeah, so
entry
it's
or
just
whatever.
like, how do you welcome people in without, again, changing the essence of hip hop?
Yeah.
But it's tough. Like I think that's a whole debate in and of itself. But I think
hmm
something about hip hop is that I've experienced, at least, is people welcome me into hip hop. Benzo
hmm
brought me to parties, brought me to jams, brought me to practice sessions. So like, just find those young people and bring them along, because otherwise the scene will die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we don't want that to happen, especially as a breaker. Like obviously things have their end, but not while I'm alive. I don't want that to happen.
I hear you. I hear you. Don't let
hmm
it die.
100%. All right, let's go. Let's go on to the. So only a few more questions left. So next one, who's your favorite b-boy currently in Toronto? Like that are
And
like I
Toronto.
guess like actually let's say in the world that's like actively like competing. Do you have anyone?
My favorite b-boy who is
B-boy or
actively,
b-girl? Yeah.
or b-girl that is actively competing. Huh. It's a good question. It's a tough one for me. I talk so much shit, so like I thought about a bunch of in my
True.
head that I like don't like when I think about good versus not so good in breaking, and I have all my opinions on that. But that's the best part. Like, we're all shit talkers deep down
Oh,
inside, or at least
100%.
my crew is. Um, who's the dopest? It's all old guys. It's all old breakers that
Uh-huh.
I still find to be the illest. Like Crumbs still lands it with me as one of the best. there ever was.
Hey, Crumbs
Just
count, he still battles?
yeah, and the way he
Yeah.
puts it together and the fire energy he brings to what he does, like um he's still probably in my top. um there's not a lot of like
True. No, I
I'm just
know
trying
what you
to
mean. Yeah.
there's a lot of people like, some people like Sunny, like when I see what he
Oh yeah,
does, I'm like,
Sunny.
oh,
Yeah.
pushing the limits, things like that. Where I'm like, oh, that's
Mhm.
dope. And he performs pretty well. Like he does well in battles. But guys like Crumbs are the ones who still get me like hype. Like the old
Mhm.
school like energy that's just like up there.
Yeah.
But the skill level and the originality
Still
is up
high.
there too.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm my brain is old like that. But like if I were to say probably the new gen, like Sunny to me is like one of those guys pushing the limits.
Mhm.
I always like watching Hong Ten, like that he'll
Oh yeah,
still
Hong is
be
still high level as hell.
still in my heart,
Yeah.
Ronnie as well. All these guys that sort of would make my tops, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's hard. Like I look at different people for different things, and um, at the end of the day, like I miss that original style, that
Mhm.
raw vibe. So I'm biased. I mean, everyone's biased, but
Yeah, fair enough. No, that makes sense. That's perfect. All right, the last part. So, building unity. Yo, tell us about your book, Mikey. So why did you
uh,
decide to make a book, and what is it all about?
yeah. So I wrote a book a year and a bit ago, about a year ago, and I just wanted to capture the story of how we built the organization from the ground up. And the reason why, honestly, is to let other people know that you can go out there and build something too. And it was the blueprint of how we did it. And it shows that we didn't know what the hell we were doing. You know,
Mhm.
how'd you build Unity? I'm like, it wasn't linear. It wasn't like something we planned. So it really
Mhm.
shows everything that went into building this organization. Um, so I'm really proud of the book. It's something I would really recommend. Like even after spending a year and a half with it and like looking at the same thing 1,000 times, like I'm
Mhm.
still proud of it because I really think like if you have an idea or something you want to see happen in your community and you just don't know how to make it happen, like check out the book, like
Makes
reach out
sense.
to me
Mhm.
straight up, reach out to me. I'd be happy to give you a copy or, you can buy a copy on my website,
I have a
but
copy.
yeah, word,
Yeah.
dope. I feel like it captured the story from my perspective. Obviously everyone
Mhm.
else has perspectives and that's cool. Like let them, share their stories too. But this is like, I wanted to capture my version of the story because
Mhm.
I had learned so much, as a kid, just building something using hip hop. And I'm like, I really want to tell these stories later
Mhm.
on. And again, if I find a young person who's like, yo, I got an idea, but I don't know how to make it happen, I'm just like, check this out, like make it super down to earth. It's very personal. Like it talks about my own story in more
Mhm.
detail, but it also like shows how we really didn't know what the hell we were doing, and I'd say the essence of the book is this one concept of like building the plane while flying it. Like we were making shit up as we
Ah,
were
okay.
flying. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like we'd be building this idea as we were flying in the sky and like making sure it didn't crash towards the ground. And I think that
Mhm.
metaphor is something that you'll find repetitive in the book. Another thing is like self-reflection. I really
Mhm.
feel that like human beings need to self-reflect
Yeah,
more
100%.
often and
Mhm.
like look at themselves and see how they're part of the problem in a given situation versus like always pointing outwards. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of talk in the book around like how to better self-reflect and use your reflection to improve. I mean, it could be used for breaking. There's a lot of breaking metaphors of like crash and create and how to like use the momentum from falling. And because I believe even that momentum from falling is momentum that you can use. That's why
Use.
people used to
Mhm.
say it didn't look like I crashed because like I'd always use the momentum to bounce into something else.
Right.
So that momentum similar, it's not a failure, it's like a lesson, like I'm learning
Mhm. Oh,
as
that's
I'm
good.
failing.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So there's lots
Yeah.
of nuggets in there, but instead of just like random um like lessons and things to learn, it's like it's all based in stories. So there's lots of
Mhm.
stories of like how we messed up 1,000 times until we were successful. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. I know I'm biased as hell, but you
Oh,
know,
100, dude. It's a good book. You discover how to get your idea out, right? Because through your own process, learn how to self-reflect, and you learn about unity as well. And like especially as a breaker, you probably learn a lot from that as well, like the process of getting your idea out.
yeah, if anyone wants to check it out, hit me up. Lots of ways to get it, audiobooks and all that jazz.
Audiobook,
And
that's my thing.
yeah,
Audiobook's my thing.
yeah. We
Yeah.
did the audiobook as jokes because
Oh,
I was
are you the
originally
one narrating it?
I was originally gonna narrate it, and then I sent my publisher my voice. They're like, "We're gonna hire someone."
Nice.
I'm like, I love how honest they were. So I ended up doing the intro and the ending, and then they hired some guy
Ah,
to like read the book.
true. That's pretty funny. I like that. You
I
better have
love
like
how
a
honest they
Morgan
were.
Freeman. It might be a Morgan
And it's funny
Freeman
because
voice
they
or
were like,
something.
okay, they're like, name a few famous people that you want to read your book. So I'm like, William Shatner,
Oh, okay.
um, all these like named Mike Myers, and they're like, no, not that famous. They're like B-level famous. Or
True.
C-level famous. So anyway, some dude who was awesome ended up reading the book, but I'm like, why did you ask me to name famous Canadians to read the book if
That
you weren't gonna actually?
makes sense. Oh man, true. But yeah, so we'll put the link of the book in our description and our Instagram as well, just so everyone can read "Building Unity" by Pieces. Let's go. But yeah, so now I have a few fan questions. We're just gonna lightning round it, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So first question: why did Pieces decide to expand Unity throughout Canada, specifically Calgary?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that question probably comes from Calgary. To be honest, we'd always take it where the scene is small. So everyone across Canada who breaks, we knew them to some extent through battles and, people who would travel to our city. So through Tony, Rain, and Tara from Pulse Studios, we realized like there were a lot of hip hoppers and breakers out in Calgary, and we wanted to empower them to create their own programming. So we went out there once, we found some sponsors and funders, all the sort of artists aligned who wanted to work with us, and we said, hey, let's keep doing this. And every year we sort of went back after that. To be honest, it was not planned. Actually, I talk about this in the book. The original thing was we knew some breakers and stuff out there, but we got a call from this person who said, oh, we have some funding to bring you out. So the mix of like the history of the dancers that we knew and this funding opportunity, we're like, yeah, sure, we'll do the program in 5 schools. So we showed up, did it in 5 schools. Next year came back, they brought us back to do 10 schools, and then we began hiring more local artists. And then we ran an artist training in Calgary for the local artists so that they could run their own after school program. And then they started their own after school program. So the idea was to like not like try to run the program ourselves from Toronto, but it was tough, man. Like honestly, I'd say our biggest failure was probably our national programs, in my opinion. And when I say failure, I say learning. Just because like we had big goals for it, but like we just never were able to achieve them on the scale that we wanted to. So a lot of the time we ended up scaling back and focusing on Toronto, to be honest. Yeah, I won't get into more detail. There's lots of stories.
It's in the book, baby. Let's go.
In the book.
True. All right. Next question. So how do you find a breaking community if you are new to the scene? How to find a breaking community if you're new to the scene?
It's a great question. That's what we spoke about, like I put the responsibility on anyone who's in a crew to like welcome people in, you know what I'm saying? But we have to find these young people, you know what I'm saying? Like offer open practices. I'd say the value of an open practice is very underrated, like St. Lawrence or any open practice in a specific community, in Scarborough or in Agincourt or wherever you are, like having practice in that community will allow young people to find it within their own community. I think that's so freaking important, because if it's downtown and someone lives like an hour away,
it's tough.
When you're young, you're not going to come out to that, you know what I mean? So we got to go out to communities and offer these things, these programs or these sessions even.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we're never gonna make this thing accessible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. Our next question, here's a fun one. Are you and Switch B going to do a third battle?
Yes. Yes. The answer is always yes.
Awesome.
And
So wait, what was the first and the second battle then? What was it, like just you and him battling?
The first one, I rinsed him. The second
Oh,
one,
it's one versus one. Oh, okay.
oh yeah. The second one, he killed me. And so now it's 1-1.
Oh,
And
snap. All right.
it's time. It's time. Before I
Yo, let's
can't
go.
do that shit, I'm in.
True, yo, because this podcast we were gonna plan on doing exhibition battles. It looks like we're gonna have to set that one up, the
He's a
trilogy.
crewmate, so it's kind of like weird, but like we agreed to be like, okay, we're gonna put that to the side and just like on a skill level, he inspires. Like I think we both like have like he inspires me. So I'm like, yo, I want to beat him, battle him, but like I don't want to beat him. He's my crewmate. But when I go into that battle with him,
Different mentality.
yeah, I mean
Frenemy. Yo, let's
it's
go.
weird to battle crewmates, but that one's like an ongoing sort of rivalry. So we got to make it happen.
That makes sense. That's pretty sick. All right. Next question is the breaker exchange battle. How did that come about?
The which?
The breaker exchange battle. Is that something? Why'd you ask that? It does not sound relevant. All right, skip that question. All right. Next question. How do you monetize and get funds for a nonprofit? Oh, specifics.
Jeez. Very specific. Get the book. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's go. Read the book, baby. Let's go.
Though, there's a whole chapter on fundraising for people who don't know anything about fundraising. I'll boil it down really quick. You know, ask for help from mentors who've done it before. Anyone you've known who's written a grant, just talk to them. You could talk to me, reach out to me. I'm down to talk more about it. Reach out to grant officers and you know, for example, Toronto Arts Council, talk to their grant officer, tell them about your project idea, then write the grant based on the feedback they give you. And if you get denied, ask for feedback and then apply again. Like just take their feedback and put it right into the proposal, and you'll get it eventually. Like, but it takes a lot of no's before you get to a yes. But it becomes a bit of a snowball because you get one yes here, then you can say, oh, we're supported by this group.
Credibility.
Kind of trust and credibility, and you actually have to do the work. Like you can't be smoke and mirrors. Like you can't
BS it. It's not like a university paper.
Nah.
Yeah, this is taxpayer money people are playing with right now.
yeah, exactly. So you got to appeal to their goals, but also you got to know when to say no. Like if it's, you know, they're asking you to do something you're not comfortable to do in exchange for sponsorship, like you got to know where to draw the line on your values.
True, that makes sense. All right, next question. Looking back, what are you most proud of about Unity? I guess like quickly answer that. Looking
Just
back,
jobs.
what are you most?
People have jobs. They had jobs. They still have jobs, and they will have jobs into the future. And to me, you know, employment's a real thing. Like artists, hip hop artists are employed and have been at Unity who were not necessarily working full-time jobs before that with benefits and, you know, salaries and things like that. So to me, that will always be the biggest win, that like my crew has jobs.
100%. That's like turning dreams into reality, dreams of your passion into a reality working job. That's like the best.
Yeah. And not like, you know, a job that doesn't pay the bills. Like the pay sort of grade at Unity has gone up and up and up over the years, even for the lowest paid staff. So we're proud to say that.
That's sick. 100%. All right, last question, fun one. Do you still break in a chicken suit? I saw that commercial. do you still have that chicken suit?
I don't, because it started to smell, but I've been thinking about getting some new one. So if you buy me the chicken suit, if we do like an Indiegogo fundraiser to buy me the chicken suit, I will go out in public and dance in it.
Oh, no, that's imagine doing it with stunts too at Eaton Center. You'll help them out hard like by doing that. Let's go.
Yo, shout out to stunts.
Hustler. All right, so that's all the questions I got, and yeah, we've been going on for 1 hour and 30 minutes, and time has been flying for me. It's like so fun.
there's nothing even in this. I'm just pretending to drink it at this point.
It's a habit. It's the habit for that. But yeah, Piecez. So before we end this podcast, would you like to give a shout out to anyone? Shout out your platform or anything like that?
Yo, shout out to MEC crew, Wintour, all day, every day, Unity Charity to the day I die. Love to my family.
Let's go.
Yeah, if you want to check out, honestly, get the book, epicleadership.ca. Check it out. If you're running a nonprofit, we have peer support groups for people who run nonprofits. Again, if you can't afford the book, drop me a note. I'll send you one. I'm serious about that. Also, the last thing I'd say is, yeah, just hit me up. Like I'm a pretty open person, and I'm always down to connect. If you have an idea and you want to actually bring it to life, like I generally make myself available to anyone, you know what I'm saying? So, there's a point where people take advantage. I'm like, okay, chill. But like, honestly, I say that at the end of all these things, and there's always one or two people who reach out, and, you have my word. I'll get back to you.
100%. Thank you so much, Piecez. Again, you Unity Charity, MEC, those were the people that got me into breaking. And again, without you guys, this podcast would not exist. I would not be breaking and all that stuff. So again, I would like to put a heartfelt thank you to you, Unity Charity, and your crew, because like it's so important to me for that. And this is why it's a very important episode for me, and why we're doing a one-on-one. Not only because James couldn't come, but it's like a special. This is a special episode for myself because I'm talking to the godfather of my breaking, basically. Let's go.
Yo, maximum respect to you, brother. Whether you're doing this or whatever, you'd be doing big things, I have no doubt. And yeah, it's just an honor to, have this full circle come around and be able to
full circle, yes,
be interviewed by you and to see what you're doing. It's really dope, man. And yeah, to many more amazing journeys ahead for you. I'm really excited. And to all the viewers out there, just take a chance, step out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there with your ideas, because you never know what's going to work. And, you don't want to have those regrets in life. So respect for having me out. Peace to all the B-boys and B-girls out there. Love to all of you in this challenging time and crazy situation. But I hope to see y'all at session soon.
Let's go, 100%. All right, and it's just breaking episode number 46 with the homie Bboy Piecez. We out now. Thank you.